Hello world, it is I, the Mystic Philosopher, and you are once again tuned to the right number. Let me also welcome you to another of my video lecture presentations in the series titled The Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell. This lecture presentation is titled The Natives' Dreadful Fear of the Black Caucasians. This presentation can also be seen as a follow-up or a part 2 to my most recent presentation titled The Common Citizen's Dreadful Fear of the Black Force, the Black Police. So if you are truly interested in getting another perspective, or if you are truly interested in getting a much deeper insight into who and what the Black Force, the Black Police, and the Black Caucasians are, then I would strongly suggest that you watch part 1, The Common Citizen's Dreadful Fear of the Black Force, the Black Police. At the end of this presentation, I will resume the continuation of my response to the YouTube video titled, What Did Jesse Duplantis Say About Black People?, wherein I will continue to critique, decode, analyze, and share my perspectives on the images in his video, or more correctly, the images that are in the video, titled, What Did Jesse Duplantis Say About Black People? If this is the first time that you are watching any of my videos, I humbly ask that you also please watch some, if not all, of my other uploaded videos. And I am sure, I'm confident you will hear another perspective on many things. Things that you might have just taken for granted and possible. Find something different to talk about, something different to think about, to comment on, and possibly it might even inspire you to do a response video, or to do a video of your own on this subject, sharing your own perspective. So if you are looking for another perspective, please, I encourage you to look at some of my other videos. Now, I'm not afraid or ashamed to admit the following facts to anyone and everyone, or to whomever it may concern. Fact number 1, I'm not ashamed or afraid to admit that the English language is not my language and mother tongue. The English language is not my natural native earthly human language, nor is it my ancestors' language or their mother tongue. Fact number 2, I'm not afraid or ashamed to admit to anyone and everyone that the English language was the language of some of my ancestors' very terrible, very fearful and dreadful slave traders, slave masters, oppressors, and persecutors, and that it is still the language of some of their heirs and successors who are our real modern-day slave masters and oppressors. In fact, the very word English means, and it is defined by the English dictionary, our dictionaries as, and I quote, of England, relating to England, or characteristic of the country, state, or people of England, unquote. Fact number 3, I am not afraid or ashamed to admit to anyone and everyone that my ancestors that were the victims of the Black Caucasians transatlantic slave trade were not permitted by their very vile and evil captors, conquerors, slave traders, and oppressors to speak their own ancestral language and to communicate with each other in their mother tongue. Nor were they permitted to freely carry on their own natural native earthly human culture, customs, and practices, but that they were only later taught and forced to learn a bastardized version of their slave masters and evil oppressors, the Black Caucasians, English language. And to this day, we, their descendants, are not taught the official English language, let alone taught how to decode all their secrets that are enveloped in it. And while on the point of secrets, of the Black Caucasians English language, and languages I might add. For those of you, my viewers, that may have watched most, if not all, of my video presentations, and those of you that have attended some of my live lectures, you may no doubt notice that here in this presentation, and henceforth, that I am not using the word European to identify the transatlantic slave trade and the transatlantic slave traders, of which some of my ancestors were the direct victims of that gross human atrocity. But now I directly and correctly identify the perpetrators of those crimes against my natural native earthly humanity and my ancestors as who and what they are, the Black Caucasians, and not the Europeans. Because if or when you decode the word Europe, and by extension its adjective European, you will find that the word EU, whether it is used by itself or as a prefix or as a root word in a compound word, it means good, it means well, it means pleasant, it means purity, etc. And if it is good, well, pleasant, pure, and so forth, then our basic common sense should tell us that it also means that it is superior to all others or to all else. And if you are in doubt, then just look up all the words in English that have as their prefix and root the word EU, and see for yourself that they all mean something good, something well, something pleasant, something pure, etc. And if they are not all good, well, pleasant, pure, then they almost all mean something good, well, pleasant, pure, and superior, etc. Please check it for yourselves. Let me give you some examples. Take the word eulogy. Again, it means words of praise, especially when you are praising someone who passed on, the dead. Eulogy, you eulogize them. Eulogy means something good. You don't eulogize somebody by going up and just talk about all their badness, no, or their evils, not really. That wouldn't be eulogy for the meaning of the word. Take the word euphony. It also means a pleasant sound. Take the word euphonious or euphonious. It means full of pleasant sounds or harmonious sounds, harmony. Take the name or the word Eugene. Eugene is a masculine name meaning well-born. And when a person is well-born, then you know that's maybe a person of some form of nobility or status or class or whatever, according to the system's structure and arrangement. Eugene. And the feminine version, I think it's Eugenia. Take the word eugenics. And for those of you who have watched most of my videos or listened to me at lectures, you will notice I've spoken on the subjects of eugenics and give some definition and the meanings of it. But here, eugenics means breeding for race improvement. And take the word Europe now. And Europe would logically mean good rope. Eu means good, well, pleasant. It would mean good rope, well rope, pure rope, white rope, superior rope, etc. Secondly, if you look at the word rope from almost any angle, you too will see, or you too may see, because to some people this is nonsense, but for those of you who have eyes to see and ears to hear and the intellect to decode and understand, you may see that other than the fact that it means a strong cord, and that it is a strong cord, that is, rope means a strong cord, or that it is a strong cord, a cord that is made up of tightly twisted fibers, a unity or a union of fibers. You will also notice that it is a symbol of power. Rope is a symbol of power. It's a symbol of strength. And as the saying goes, unity is strength. So from this you can see that they will unite together in order to divide, conquer, dominate, and control all others. And thus you have the so-called EU. or the European Union, meaning the good rope union. And finally, if you take a much deeper look at the word rope, you will also notice that the structure of the DNA, also known as the double helix structure, and the genetic code of life, the DNA, it looks like a rope. Therefore, from that fact, we can and we must reasonably deduce that what they are telling us is that they are the good genes, the good race, the pure race, the white race, etc. And for those of you that may have listened and heard one of my songs titled I Gave Back the Curse, Satan, it's right here, it's posted on my channel. I gave back the curse, Satan, where I mentioned that, and I quote, you took all the names that are superior and gave me those that are inferior. You thought that in a million lifetimes I would have never come to the knowledge of this truth, unquote. Please listen to my song. You may find it interesting. So in honor of my ancestors, the natural native earthly humans, their names and their spirit, having discovered these facts, and knowing among many other reasons, this fact and knowledge among many other reasons, I, the mystic philosopher, cannot continue to call the Black Caucasians Europeans. Fact number 4. I am not afraid or ashamed to admit to anyone and everyone that I do not know my ancestors' very terrible, fearful, and dreadful slave traders, slave masters, oppressors, and persecutors, heirs and successors, their heirs and successors' language, the English language. And that the closest I think I can, and the closest I think I may ever get to learning, knowing, and decoding it, is by my frequent use and reference to its various English dictionaries. So whenever I am giving a lecture, presentation, or talking about any topic or subject using the English language, my natural intelligence, or as a natural native earthly human, my natural intelligence directs me to the owners of the language dictionaries, the English dictionaries, instead of simply allowing me to regurgitate what I have been taught over the many years and what is commonly believed by many people and by most of society today. So I'm a frequent user of the English dictionaries. So what is meant by the topic of this lecture? The natives' dreadful fear of the Black Caucasians. And what do I hope to have accomplished by the end of this presentation? Well, let me answer the last part of this question first by saying that by the end of this presentation, I do hope that I will have answered some of the why questions, or at the very least, I do hope that I will have offered some new perspectives, some new insights into some of the why questions that most of us, the natural native earthly humans, especially those of us that are richly blessed with high melanin content, with high carbon skin, are asking ourselves on a daily basis. We're daily asking ourselves questions such as, why do Caucasians call themselves white people and the white race? Why do they think that they are white people and that they are a white race? Why do they believe that they are white people? And why do they boast to the rest of the world that they are white people? Why do some of us, or why do some, if not most, of the Caucasian people and the Caucasian system of government, and particularly their Caucasian police force, the world over, why do they treat us, the natural native earthly humans, that they have deceivingly, contemptuously, and maliciously called the black people? Why do they treat us with such disdain? Why do they treat us with such brutality, with such inhumanity, with such viciousness, with such scorn and evil? While they would, while they will, and while they are, without any form of shame, any form of guilt, without any form of breach of human conscience or regrets, continue to live their lives as if they are superior to all others, and as if the earth belongs to them and them alone, and as if we, the natural native earthly humans, are trespassers and rioters on their property. Why? By the natives' dreadful fear of Black Caucasians, again, I am talking about the people that are the natural native earthly humans, and with special emphasis on those of us that are of high melanin content, of high carbon skin, and those of us that are the descendants of the direct victims of the Black Caucasians transatlantic slave trade. I am talking about we the people that the Black Caucasians system, that the Black Caucasian system that you will and that you shall no doubt learn much more about by the end of this presentation, intentionally, deceptively, denigratingly, and contemptuously called, named, labeled, profiled, and blacklisted us as the black people. And as a consequence, they, meaning the Black Caucasians and their system, treat us, they persecute us and respond to us as if we are truly black, as if we are truly a black people. Now, first, let us examine the phrase Black Caucasian or Black Caucasians by answering the question, who is a Caucasian and who are the Black Caucasians? So who are a Black Caucasian? Simply put, a Caucasian is, or Caucasians are, of the Caucasus origin and ancestry. Caucasians are the people that originated and belong to the Caucasus Mountains. According to the Living Webster's Encyclopedic Dictionary of the English Language, Caucasians are, and I quote, of or pertaining to the Caucasus, a range of mountains between Europe and Asia, extending from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea, pertaining to the white race, as characterized by physical features, a native of the Caucasus, a member of the Caucasian race, Caucasoid, unquote. So who is a Black Caucasian? And who are Black Caucasians? Meaning, who are the Black Caucasians that we, the natural native earthly humans, are so afraid of, so terrified of, are so terrorized by, even by the mere mention of their names, etc. Now, I will be revisiting the meanings and definitions of the word black very shortly in order to give a very detailed answer to the phrase Black Caucasians and black any human or black almost anything, and also to further point out how they, the Black Caucasians, have deceived us and the world into thinking and believing that we, the natural native earthly humans, are black, are the black ones. In other words, they have flipped the script on us, and we have unsuspectingly swallowed their lies hook, line, and sinker. But in the meantime, simply put, a Black Caucasian is a member of the Caucasian race of people that is a very evil person. The Black Caucasians that we, the natural native earthly humans, are terrified and dreadfully afraid of, are a group and groups of people that are from the Caucasian race, that have throughout their own recorded history have distinguished themselves as evil, as desperately wicked, as evil and destructive beyond our natural native earthly human knowledge or understanding. And not only are they a threat to the continued existence of our natural native earthly human families, but they are also a threat to all of our fellow natural native earthlings as well. And they are also a threat to the continued existence of our mother and planet Earth as we think we know her. And how do we know them? Or how do we know who they are? Or how can we identify them, the Black Caucasians? And the answer to those questions is that it is by their fruits that you shall, that you can, and that you will know them, the evil Caucasians. Meaning, it is by their works, it is by their actions, it is by their deeds, it's by their evil vibrations, it is by their inventions, and it is by their vibrations, their evil vibration, while we are in their presence, and above all, it is by their concealed and expressed contempt and hatred for us that are the natural native earthly humans that are of high melanin content, high carbon skin. Here is how and when you can very easily and very quickly identify a Black Caucasian or the Black Caucasians. They lie. They are cons and liars, and the truth is not in them. And one of the biggest and most subversive lies that they have told all of us, the natural native earthly humans and peoples of the earth, and have us all believed for centuries, if not for millenniums, is that they are white and that we, the natural native earthly humans of high melanin content and skin tone, are black. And here you can both see for yourself and know for sure that this dictionary's definitions of the word Caucasian that I have just read to you was written by a Black Caucasian or by some very Black Caucasians. Because if you are not fully hypnotized and dumbed down, and if at all you are matured enough to be able to trust your own intelligence, to trust your own basic human conscience or your basic human common sense, and to trust your own physical sense of sight, if at all you're not visible or visually handicapped, then you know that Caucasians are not at all white people, period. Note, as part of its definitions for the word Caucasian, its meaning, the Living Webster's Encyclopedic Dictionary of the English Language, it states, and I quote, pertaining to the white race as characterized by physical features, unquote. Now, the two words from this dictionary's definition that I would ask that at this point you please take note of it, and pay very close attention to. The two words are physical and the word feature, and by extension, it's plural, features. So that's physical, feature, and the plural of feature, features. For your information, the word feature means, and I quote, a distinct attribute or aspect of something, unquote. Now, please ask yourself this question and allow your own reasoning ability, your own human intelligence and common sense to answer it for you. What physical features that, according to the lexicographers of the Living Webster's Encyclopedic Dictionary of the English Language, are saying, are talking about, are alluding to, by which they, meaning the Caucasians, are distinguished and characterized as a white race, or as the white race. The white race, meaning they are the complete opposite of those of us that they so deceivingly and disparagingly call the black race. And I beg that you please ask yourself this question and allow your own reasoning ability, your own human intelligence and common sense to answer it for you. What are the physical features by which they, the Caucasians, are distinguished and characterized as the white race? Please note, as pertaining to the white race, not as pertaining to a white race, but as pertaining to the white race. According to the English language, the word the is a definite article. So it is hereby telling us that there is no other race like it. It, the white race, is unique, or it is one of a kind. The white race, meaning they are the most complete and pure race of people on the earth. The white race, meaning they are the race of perfection. In other words, they are the perfect race of humans on the planet Earth. The white race, meaning they are the race of purity, innocence, wholeness, and completion. The white race, meaning they are the model race. The white race, meaning they are the good race. The white race, meaning they are the light of the world, meaning they bring light to the world. The white race, meaning they are the superior race, etc. So, what is the physical feature, or what are the physical features by which they are so distinguished and characterized as the white race? Is it their hair? Is it their eyes? Is it their nose? Is it something external? Is it their history and track record? Is it their white blood or pure blood? Is it their conduct, attitude, and interactions with all other races and peoples of the earth? Or is it their skin complexion? And from my perspective and analysis, and I'm sure most of you may agree with me, that the primary feature that they, the lexicographers, and others, I might add, are directly referring to is their skin complexion. They, the Black Caucasians, not only are they audacious, but they think so highly of themselves, and they think so little and poorly of the intelligence of all other peoples of the earth, that they claim and are claiming to have white skin. And nothing is, or nothing else could be further from the truth. I put it to you that even without knowing all the meanings and definitions of the English word white, but if you are a natural, native, earthly human, and especially one of high melanin skin, and if you should look at a Caucasian, especially one that of those that are living here in North America, or the Caribbean, or Africa, and tell me that you are looking at a white person, or you are looking at a human with white skin, then I will unapologetically tell you in return that you seriously need help. You need some very serious counseling and deprogramming. And I will also tell you that this is possible, that you have reached a point of no return. It is possible that you cannot be helped anymore because you are much too far gone into the realm and depths of ignorance and the Black Caucasian System's hypnotic trance. I have already established in almost all of my lecture presentations that there are no white humans that are visibly living on this our planet Earth, let alone natural native earthly humans that are white. Moreover, I have already unapologetically established the fact that Caucasians are not white, and that maybe with the exception of their clothes, their hair, the scalar of their eyes, and possibly their teeth, there is nothing else about Caucasians in general that is white, let alone the Black Caucasians calling themselves white. Now granted, I must admit that the majority of Caucasians in time past and today, the world over, Caucasians lack the system, which is also their own system, call them, named and label them as white. And also those that call themselves white, answer to the word white, believe that they are white and act as if they are white. The truth is, they really and truly do not know that they are not at all white. They have been told the great big white lie for so long that they honestly think to themselves that it is true and that white is who and what they really are. They honestly think that they are indeed white. In fact, it was one of their own people and fellow Black Caucasians, namely Adolf Hitler, who was also one of the most self-proclaimed white men on the planet at that time, and one who not only deceived himself into believing that he and his elite group of people from his Caucasian people or his Caucasian race called Nazis were white, that they were superior, and that together they are the master race. But he and his Nazis also very strongly believed that all other peoples of the earth were their inferiors, or that they were inferior. All other peoples were inferior to them. they strongly believed that all other peoples of the earth were subhuman species and not even worthy of being called human, and that they were his subjects and commoners, etc. And as such, he, Adolf Hitler, and his elites strongly believed that they should be eradicated in fulfillment of one of his greatest inspiration or greatest inspirator and role model, Charles Darwin, and his Darwin's prophecy. And that having eradicated and exterminated all other people of the earth, that they should be replaced with his Black Caucasians' evil and misguided ideology of the white race, the master race, meaning the pure and so-called civilized race. And for your information, the Black Caucasian Adolf Hitler, his message, his doctrines, his dreams and goals, along with his protege, the Black Caucasian Charles Darwin's prophecy of exterminating all natural native earthly humans and replacing us with their pure Caucasians, did not die or perish with him, but they lived on since then, and they are very much alive, if not far more alive today than ever. Adolf Hitler's dream of getting rid of us is still alive. So the vast majority of Caucasians today really and truly don't know that they are not at all white, and that they have been told a lie, and that they have been believing and living a lie for most of their lives, if not all their lives. A lie that has been told to them by the system, a lie that has been told to them by their leaders, their very own Black Caucasians, and their parents. In fact, consciously or unconsciously, knowing or unknowingly, parents are still lying and deceiving their own children by telling them that they are white. And the reverse is true. In our case, there are still parents who are deceiving their children, consciously and unconsciously, telling them that they are black. It was Adolf Hitler himself that said, and I quote, "If you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, it will be believed," unquote. In fact, most, if not all, of the Caucasians today that are so erroneously, so irrationally, and so insanely claiming that they are white, and are publicly and very proudly boasting about their insane and misguided whiteness, and especially some of the very popular daytime talk radio show hosts, and particularly Caucasian male hosts and commentators that I sometimes happen to listen to while driving around in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. They, along with some of the popular television show hosts, and again, particularly the Caucasian male host, commentators that are on some of the major TV networks or major TV news media networks in the United States, that I sometimes watch and listen to them and their news commentaries. And I cannot help but notice with interest when they talk about and when they are talking about my people. I just cannot help but notice when they are talking about us, the natural native earthly humans that are richly blessed with melanin content and carbon skin, that the Black Caucasians and their system knowingly, deceptively, and otherwise named, labeled, profiled, blacklisted us and called us black, the black people. I cannot help but notice the way in which they, meaning these some of those radio and television, mostly male show hosts, speak about us with such contempt. And sometimes when they are being what may be best described as being diplomatic, they speak of us with very subtle contempt in their expressions that are easily detected in their voices by people like myself. And oftentimes they would speak of us with gross disdain, especially if or when some of my people or youths or some of our people that are rich and famous, when they erred in their judgments. For example, if or when they are just being honest and unpretentious, or if or when they might misbehave, when they commit crimes by breaking the system's laws, or if or when they just do something that is obviously plain stupid, etc. In their commentaries, these show host commentaries, these Caucasian show host commentaries, you can hear their very mocking and their very condescending tone of voice when they talk about them, which is us. When they are talking about us, the people, that their people, if not themselves, the Black Caucasians, deceptively, maliciously, and contemptuously called, named, labeled, profiled, and blacklisted as black. For example, I recently listened to a few of the male Caucasian radio talk and TV talk show host here in Toronto. Talked about my brother, one of our own, Mike Tyson. Talked about his meeting with the now ailing mayor of the city and his subsequent interview on a live television show. And to the delight of the Black Caucasians, the interview was done by one of their appointees, an anointee, I might add, and their honorary member of their society that obediently executed their direct or their indirect orders while proving himself to be nothing but a Judas. Proving himself to be nothing but a betrayer of us, his own people. Proving himself to be a sellout and an embarrassment to our ancestors, to the spirits of our ancestors, and also to most of our people. And above all, proving himself to be an idiot. Because why would he ask such a question of a man who is trying to redeem himself, or who has redeemed himself and is just trying to make a living? His own brother. Why would he do that? I listen to them most of the time talking about, and these commentators, these Caucasian commentators, radio show hosts, I listen to them most of the time talking about and vilifying our young men in sports and commenting on their mishaps as if they are the real Black Caucasians. As if they, the young men in the NFL, for example, are the embodiment of evil. I listen to them and hear the scorn in their voice. But I will be doing a video and sharing some of my perspective on this issue of our youths and young men that are being set up, trained, and turned into monsters and gladiators, made rich and famous by the Black Caucasians and its systems, and its system rather, only to again be taken out by them, to be publicly and mercilessly lynched by the Black Caucasians media and their system of force. So yes, I have listened to them talking about our young men in sports and their mishaps as if they are the real and true Black Caucasians, as if our young men in sports are the embodiment of evil. And not only can you hear, and not only do I hear the denigration and the contempt in their voices when they say the black guy, the black people, the black community, the black man, the black woman, the black suspect, etc. And in the next breath, you can hear the elevated pride, the cockiness, and the superiority complex in their tone of voice when they identify themselves as being white, as being from the white race. For example, you can hear they say, I'm a white guy. We white people, or we are from the white race. We are the white people, etc. White my ass. And if you know that you are not a Black Caucasian, or the Black Caucasians that are willfully promoting these lies, then stop spreading the Black Caucasians lies. Nothing about you is white. From my perspective, what these learned and systems well-educated Caucasian radio and television show hosts, journalists, lawyers, politicians, and celebrities, etc., what they don't know, what they don't want to know, and what they don't want you or the rest of the world to know, is the fact that it was only quite recently that they were elevated to the status of being called and classified as white by the Black Caucasian political system. And I wish that all of the so-called and desperately wannabe white supremacists and white power advocates activist followers and practitioners the world over today, and also all the so-called and desperately wannabe black supremacists, black power, black consciousness advocates, activists, followers and practitioners would be mentally and intellectually opened enough. I wish they would be mentally and intellectually opened enough, sensible enough, and be true to themselves enough to take this fact into consideration. The fact that in the hierarchy of things, it's only quite recently that they could even consider themselves as white. Consider these things before they start running their mouths on radio and televisions and exposing their gross ignorance about them being white, etc. In fact, the Black Caucasian, and from my perspective, one of the chief architects of so-called white supremacy, ideology, Adolf Hitler, did not even consider all his fellow Caucasians his equal or as fellow white people. In fact, he did not even consider them as even worthy of being called white people. According to Wikipedia, and this is just a quick reference, according to Wikipedia, and I quote, "From all the European peoples, the Slavs and particularly the Poles, which are Polish, and Serbs, which are Serbians, were considered the most racially inferior and were placed at the bottom of the racial hierarchy, along with Jews, Romani people, and persons of color," unquote. And although it is not mentioned here in this particular quote, but not even were the Russians, that even the Russians were considered white people, or as equal to those white supremacists, those Nazis, or this whole movement of white. Not even they were considered as part of that hierarchy of supremacy, of whiteness. For example, I sometimes listen to some of these same people that put down and are putting down my people, proudly boasting on some of their talk radio and TV shows about their white Irish heritage. And that's fine. No one should be ashamed of his or her heritage unless it is one that is proven and known to be evil. But never have I ever heard any of them mentioning the fact that Ireland was one of the poorest countries in Europe, if not one of the poorest countries in the world, and that many of their Irish ancestors were brought here to North America and to the Caribbean as slaves to the British, to England, slaves to England. Yes, the same British, or the same English, oppressors and slave traders and slave masters that brought my ancestors here, and that were the Irish people were treated just as bad, just as inferior, if not worse, than how my ancestors, the so-called Africans, that were brought here and forced into slavery. In fact, I've read where they were even treated worse, and they were valued far less than the Africans, than my people, my ancestors. And just for the record, or just to set the record straight, my ancestors, the natural native earthly humans from the continent, my ancestors were not slaves, as is commonly believed and is commonly taught and implied by the Black Caucasians. My ancestors were brought here by the heinously wicked and vile Black Caucasians and then forced into slavery. They, meaning these radio and television show hosts and celebrities, are no different from the vast majority of my people, of my own people, especially some of our very cocky, system-educated, system-trained scholars and the chosen ones that the system's administrators have elected and has approved to be on the system's radio and televisions, that have been told by their masters and bosses, the Black Caucasians, that they are black. And again, they swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And it is a very rude awakening for many of these radio and television show hosts and celebrities and others having to discover that they are not white and that their preferential treatment and status as being white is a fraud. And it is also a very rude awakening for some of my own people, especially the very few that the Black Caucasians and their system have elected and promoted, the very few that are benefiting financially and otherwise from being seen, being known, and being admired as black leaders, black activists, black preachers, black counselors, black lawyers, black educators, black motivators, black intellectuals, black radio and TV show hosts, black, you name it. And for them to have to discover that they are not black and that they have been living and promoting a lie most, if not all of their lives. And moreover, that their black community status and privileges, or the black social status, their black social status and privileges will be taken away. They would prefer to bury their heads in the sand and pretend that it is not so and continue living and promoting the blackness lie. Some people can react. Some people will react. And some people have reacted quite disturbingly, quite violently when they learn and are faced with the reality that they are not at all white. Or in the case of some of my own people, that they are not black. I had one Caucasian male quite recently change into at least 5 identifiable colors: red, reddish pink, pale, pinkish pale, and a somewhat blue in the face on me quite recently. And as angry as he was, he still couldn't turn white. And all because I told him the truth, that he was not, and that he is not at all white. Prior to that, I had a then self-proclaimed black community radio show host and radio personality called me comical and very angrily hung up the phone on me, all because I told him that I, the Mystic Philosopher, am not black. I told him that the word black is a curse word and that it was not good to call himself black, and also that he should look up the meaning of the word black and then tell me if that is the best adjective he can find in the English language that can best describe who and what he is. He hung up on me, called me comical. And just quite recently on a Sunday morning, I just happened to be skipping through my TV cable channels and ended up on a very popular community radio station here in Toronto. And to my intense delight, which was soon to be shattered in disappointment, it was a morning talk show, or more likely a talk discussion that was hosted by, I think, 3 brothers from my own people, 2 of which I quickly identified as coming directly, because of their accent, as coming directly from the continent that is today called Africa. The other brother maybe directly from the continent as well, but I'm not sure. And one of the 2 brothers from the continent, I also learned, was a systems trained doctor, or maybe not a MD, but a PhD. And the topic of discussion was the importance of names and the reasons why we, meaning people of African ancestry, should be careful about the names we give and call our children, give to and call our children. I got so excited, and against my partner's much better judgment and insight, because she had quickly detected and realized that the names that they were promoting were not Africans' names, but they were Caucasian, were Christians and Caucasians' names, not African names. I decided that I had to call in and share my perspective with these that I honestly thought were 3 of my open-minded and enlightened brothers, which I did. I called into the station, and the moment I mentioned the fact that I was not black and that black was not a good name for us to be calling ourselves, they immediately hung up on me. They cut me off so fast, it was as if I had committed an heinous crime against not only my people, but a heinous crime against humanity. And immediately after they hung up on me, or dismissed me, they took a call from a Caucasian woman who proudly identified herself as an Italian white woman that is married to and has borne children for a Ghanaian man. And the way they received her call, and the way they responded to her, and the length of time they spent talking with her and listening to her, and the courtesy they afforded her, especially the one that is the doctor, when she told them that she gave her children Ghanaian names, it was like to him he had just received a phone call straight from heaven. I could not help hearing the syndrome known as inferiority complex echoing in their every intonation. Oh, you make my day. Calls like this I love to receive, and they just keep going on and on and on, sucking up to the woman, who is in his or in their ignorance, they perceived her as being white. That experience, among many others, also further affirmed my observations and the lessons that I have learned, the spiritual insights and truths that I have received and are receiving from my ancestors, that these of our own people are some of the system's appointees that come and are sent in the name of black, or in the name black and under the disguise of blackness, while standing in the way of my people's true liberation and their further emancipation. They are some of my own people that are being consciously or unconsciously used by the Black Caucasian system to stand in the way of my people's redemption from the curse of the black spell. So the second biggest lie that they, meaning the Black Caucasians, have told us, the natural native earthly humans that are blessed by our mother and source, our mother nature, with melanin and carbon, is that we are the black ones, and that we are the black people, that they are the good ones, the white ones, and we, the bad ones, the black ones. In fact, not only did they tell us that they are white people and that we are black people, but they physically beat and torture that lie, along with the fear of their very terrible, fearful, and dreadful religion, God, gods, lords, saviors, and masters, etc., into our ancestors, and by extension into us. And to this day, those lies are still the most difficult lies from which my people must be freed. So let us now revisit the meanings, definitions, and the part of speech in the English language for the word black. And let us see if we can pinpoint some of the very devastating and deadly effects it has had on my people throughout history. And let us also see if we can pinpoint some of the very devastating and deadly effects that it is currently having on us, the natural native earthly humans today, that the Black Caucasians and their system have deceptively called, named, labeled, profiled, and blacklisted as the black people. And the first thing that we will discover from the English dictionaries is that the English word black is an adjective, and that the function of an adjective in the English language is, and I will quote for accuracy, adjective 1, a part of speech expressing quality or condition. 2, a word used to limit or define a noun or a pronoun, unquote. So here we can see from at least one English dictionary that the English word black is an adjective, and the function and purpose of an adjective is to define and express the quality or condition of a noun or a pronoun. So I am hereby using it to describe a group of people from the Caucasian race of people. And this distinct group of people I called the Black Caucasians. Now please note very carefully that unlike this group of people, the Black Caucasians, please note that the Black Caucasian that has deliberately, intentionally, denigratingly, deceivingly, maliciously, contemptuously, and otherwise called, named, labeled, profiled, and blacklisted my people, the entire race of people, as the black people. Please note that I, the Mystic Philosopher, did not say that the entire race of people called Caucasians are black. Nor am I denying the possibility that it is black. For if or when all things are considered, including its history, its hostile relationship and relationships and interactions with all other people of the earth, all other races and people on the face of the earth, and even their hostile relationships and interactions with each other and among themselves, along with their warring and destructive inventions, weapons, and attitude towards nature, our Mother Earth, and her people, places and things, etc., the possibility does exist that it may well be the black race or a black race. For example, I'm not denying the possibility that the entire race of Caucasians may have been blackened and have become black, having themselves been contaminated by the group of Black Caucasians that is from them and that is among them. Nor am I denying the fact that there are those that are from and those that are among my people, we the natural native earthly humans, and especially those of us that are of high melanin content, high carbon skin, that have been blackened and have become black and are manifesting almost all the qualities and characteristics of black, which is blackness, having themselves been contaminated by the very terrible, dreadful, and powerful conquerors, dominators, colonizers, an influential group of Black Caucasians and their religions, their gods, the gods, masters, kings, queens, and lords, etc., that have conquered, ruled, and governed the earth for centuries, if not for thousands of years. And they are still ruling and governing the earth today with force, true force, and by force. But that is a completely different subject for another place, another time. But here I will now just continue, to focus or continue focusing on this distinct group of people that I call the Black Caucasian. And as I have mentioned elsewhere before, that it is by their fruits that we know who and what they really are. So now, let us look at the meanings and definitions of the word black. And from its meanings and definition, we shall see and deduce for ourselves the meaning and definitions along with the quality, nature, character, and characteristics of either a Black Caucasian, the Black Caucasians, or the Black anyone. And among all the meanings and definitions of the English word black that you will find are that it is the opposite of white. Black is almost without light and the absence of light. Black is gloomy. Black is pessimistic. Black is dismal. Black is threatening. Black is hostile. Black is without moral goodness. Black is a disgrace, or black is indicating disgrace. Black is soil or stained with dirt, or black is very dirty. Black is deliberately harmful. Black is inexcusable. Black is evil. Just to name a few. And I suggest that you research or search the meaning of the word black for yourself. Definitions. So by definition, meaning and intention, a black anyone or a black any group of people or a black any race of people is hereby defined by the English language as is and are, and as it is or as they are. And again, I'll quote, the opposite of white, almost without light and the absence of light, as gloomy, pessimistic, dismal, threatening, hostile, without moral goodness, a disgrace, or indicating disgrace, soiled or stained with dirt, or very dirty, deliberately harmful, inexcusable, evil, and more, unquote. So with these meanings and definitions, what the Black Caucasians have done, and as I've mentioned before, is by using their very black mastermind, which I also called the mastermind of blackness. They have maligned us, the natural native earthly humans, with the name and label black and black people, and have the rest of their kind along with our own people thinking, seeing, believing, and treating us as if they are the real black ones. So when the Black Caucasians speak about us in their news media, on their talk radio shows, in their newspapers, in their justice system, and when they profile us in their black force or black police, etc., as being the black people, the black community, as being the black nation, the black man, the black woman, the black boy, the black girl, the black child, the black youths, the black school, the black people music, the black church, etc. and then referring to themselves, speaking of themselves, and presenting themselves as being white. The white people, they know what they are doing. Or, at the very least, those who really know, or those who really and truly don't know, are indeed victims of those who are in the know and are telling those that don't know what to do. The Black Caucasians know that by saying and pronouncing upon a people the name, title, label, and affiliation, black, that not only are they pronouncing a curse and casting a spell of bad omen, a black spell on them, but that they are literally and intentionally saying that here is a people that is black. Meaning, here is a people that are almost without light. And in some instance, here is a people that is the absence of light. For your information, and as I have explained elsewhere, that light is a symbol of illumination, a symbol of good sense, intelligence, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and wise judgment. Therefore, by calling us black, they are literally saying the people are a people, or this people are a people that are without illumination, spiritual and otherwise. The people, the black people rather, are a people that are without intelligence. The black people are a people that are without knowledge. The black people even lack knowledge of themselves so much that here we are calling them black, and they are so gladly accepting our insults and put downs by even now calling themselves and wanting to own and copyright the word black. The black people are a people that are without understanding. The black people are a people that are without wisdom, and as such, the black people are unable and incapable of making wise judgments for themselves and others. They are saying, the black people, the Black Caucasians, know that by saying and pronouncing upon a people the name, title, label, and affiliation black, that not only are they pronouncing a curse and casting a spell of bad omen, a black spell on them, but that they are literally and intentionally saying that the black people are a gloomy people, the black people are a pessimistic set of people, the black people are a dismal people, the black people are a threatening people, the black people are a hostile people, the black people are a people that are without moral goodness, the black people are a disgraced people, the black people are a disgraceful people, the black people are a people that are indicative of disgrace. In other words, the black people are a disgrace to the human race. Therefore, if or when you see black people, you are seeing embarrassment of the human race, an embarrassment to the human family. The Black Caucasians know that by saying and pronouncing upon a people the name, title, label, and affiliation black, that they are literally saying the black people are a people that are soiled or stained with dirt. In other words, the black people are a very dirty people. The black people are a deliberately harmful people. The black people are an inexcusable people. In other words, the black people's status as a human should not be justified. And finally, for now, the black people are an evil people. And that is what is meant by black people. Now, and as I have asked in a few of my previous lectures, the same question, and lectures and presentation, can someone please tell I the Mystic Philosopher, who in their right mind would want to call themselves or to continue calling themselves, to name themselves, list themselves, profile, or to be labeled black, and above all, to call him or herself black after being awakened to this knowledge and truth that is right before our eyes. Who would want to do that? Who would want to continue doing that? Personally, I think that maybe only a truly black person would want to do so, or would continue to do so. Please let us not forget that our ancestors that were the direct victims of the Black Caucasian transatlantic slave trade suffered and overcame severe torture, pain, and even death at the vile, wicked, and brutal hands of the Black Caucasians. And they did so with the knowledge, hope, and understanding that their sacrifices would not be in vain. but that the day and the night would come when we, their great-great-grandchildren, in this their future generations, would eventually gain access to the system's education and gain enough knowledge of their enemies, the Black Caucasians, trichology language, in order to start freeing our minds of their mental slavery and deceptions as we journey towards the restoration of their honor and of our dignity as the natural, native, earthly human family. From these meanings and definitions of the word black, or more correctly, from these meanings and definitions of the curse word black, let me now give you one quick and practical example of some of the very deadly consequences for us, the natural, native, earthly humans, and the highly melaninated or carbon skinned people, that are being deceptively and maliciously labeled, called, listed, named, and profiled as the black people by the Black Caucasians and their system. I will just give you one example of the very deadly consequences and the experiences of our people, and especially of our youths and young men on a daily basis, and especially for those of us that are the descendants of the victims of the Black Caucasians transatlantic slave trade here in North America or the West. As natural, native, earthly humans that are very richly blessed with the gift of high melanin skin and high carbon skin, and one that is deceptively, maliciously, spitefully, and denigratingly and otherwise labeled, called, listed, named, and profiled black by the real and true black people, the Black Caucasians, and their very black system, we have been and we are being shot down dead like wild and harmful animals in their streets. We are being abused, brutalized, injured, maimed, harassed, falsely accused, falsely arrested, falsely detained, falsely imprisoned, falsely sentenced, sometimes falsely sentenced to death. We have been and we are being discriminated against. We have experienced and are still experiencing the system's institutionalized racism and bigotry. We are being deprived of our natural, native, earthly human rights, dignity, respect, and the list goes on and on and on. All because we are being deceptively, maliciously, intentionally, contemptuously, denigratingly, and otherwise labeled and listed, profiled, and called black. The black people and the black race by those that are, from my perspective and experience, those that are the real and true black ones, the Black Caucasians, the very same people that have brought and is still bringing blackness, also known as wickedness and evils, upon us and upon the earth. Now, here is the example and the fact that I ask that you please think very carefully about and meditate on, at least for a while in your mind, in your own minds, within your own minds. Because the English word, or rather, because the English language is the Black Caucasians' language, it is their mother tongue, it is their ancestral tongue. And just like themselves that are from the one Caucasian family tree and origins, the Caucasus Mountains, etc. It, the English language, is also from the one Caucasian language family tree. Therefore, they, the Black Caucasians, naturally know it. They naturally speak it. They can naturally speak and pronounce its every word better than anyone that is not of their family tree or their stock, so to speak. Because it's theirs, their understanding of it, and the meanings and definitions of its every word, because it's theirs, they understand it. It's in their blood. It is coded in their DNA. So please do not be deceived. Please be not deceived that when they called you black, or when they called, name, profile, and list us black, that they did not mean what they say and what their own dictionaries say that the word is, and the word means, the word black means. So because the word black sounds threatening, looks threatening, means threatening, and is defined as threatening, and because the word black is threatening, anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time the Black Caucasians, along with those that they influence and convince with their lies that we, the natural native earthly humans of high melanin skin or carbon content, are black, and that we are the black people, the black ones. Anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time they see us, they think that they are seeing a threat. Anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time, the Black Caucasians and others that have been influenced by their lies and wickedness see us, they think that they are seeing a threat and that they are being threatened. And they act accordingly, threatened, or as if they are under threat. Anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time, the Black Caucasians and those that have been influenced by their lies and wickedness, or with their lies and wickedness, see us. They claim, at the very least to themselves and in their own minds, that they are threatened. They believe that they are threatened. They feel threatened, and they act accordingly. Threatened, or as if they are under threat. They act as if they are being threatened by us. Or to be more precise, they act as if we are indeed threatening them, and as such, we are a threat to them. And it does not matter if they see us in our cars driving on the highway, going in opposite directions and away from them. It does not matter if they see us in our cars parked in the parking lot, in the public parking lot. It does not matter if they see us in their churches preaching from their own podium, or in their temple, or in their mosque, etc., worshiping their own gods and begging their own gods for forgiveness and mercy. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if they see us in their White House, in their Parliament House, our houses, in their Congress House, in their Governor's House, in their Vatican City, in their... Doesn't matter if they see us in handcuffs. Doesn't matter if they see us in chains and shackles, in their prisons, in their jails, on their televisions, in their movies, in their music videos, in their sport arenas, on their streets. It doesn't matter. They see us on their streets or even in their hospitals. And even when they kill or murder us dead, you name it, the Black Caucasians and all those that have been influenced by their lies and wickedness will think, claim, believe, feel, and behave as if they are threatened, as if they are under threat, as if we are a real threat to them, and they act accordingly, threatened. And for your information, anywhere, everywhere, anytime and every time a Black Caucasian police officer or any police officer from any other race or group of people, including our own people that are police officers and are induced, police officers and are induced and empowered with the Black Caucasians police powers and authority. Anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time they see us or see any of us, they think they are seeing a threat. They think they are being threatened. They claim, if not by calling into their station houses and superiors and put in a report of some sort, or at the very least, they claim to themselves, in their own minds, that they are threatened. They believe they are threatened. They feel threatened. And they act accordingly, threatened. And if anyone is in doubt that our own people that are police officers, or more correctly, if anyone is in doubt that those people from among us that become police officers, meaning people that are from our own natural native earthly human family of high melanin or high carbon skin that become police officers and are police officers, and as such they are now influenced, induced, and empowered by the Black Caucasian system of force with the Black Caucasians' power or police powers and authority. If you, for once, make the tragic mistake and think or believe that because you are a law-abiding citizen, because you may have some perceived status among your peers, if you for once think or believe that because you are innocent, because you are unarmed, because you are doing what they are asking you to do, or what they might be telling you to do, and because your hands are in the air, etc., if you make this tragic mistake by thinking or believing that they will not hurt you, that they will not harm you, and that unlike their fellow Black Caucasian police officers, if you believe that they will not point a gun at you while aiming with the conscious intent to kill you, that they will not abuse, if you think that they will not abuse you or even shoot and kill you just because you look like them or because they look like you or because they are from among us, then you too are out of your mind. Remember that when one of our own become a police officer, and it does not matter where on the planet Earth it happened, he or she is no longer a common or an ordinary citizen like you or like we are. They are now possessed with the mind and the mindset, the power and authority of the Black Caucasian Force. And consequently, they are trained to think like them. They are trained to be like them, to speak like them, to look like them, and to act like them. And he or she will kill or do whatever with you, anywhere and anytime, just like them, meaning just like the Black Caucasians. And if you are still in doubt, just take another look at the image on your screen in this video and pay very close attention to how one of our own that has been possessed, induced, and empowered by the Black Caucasian police, Black Caucasians police power and authority is hereby pointing the Black Caucasian's lethal weapon and his brother, who is evidently harmless and have both hands raised high in the air. And I can assure you that this system-trained hombre would be more than happy to slaughter his brother just to prove to his masters that he is worthy of being called one of them. I saw a video of another one in New York quite recently with his Black Caucasian's gun drawn and two brothers ready to execute. And two brothers that was just hustling some CDs. Not that it might not be illegal or he shouldn't do his duty, but there was no need for him to be drawing his gun, threatening, and I have no doubt until shortly after he called in, and then of course his boss, a Black Caucasian, came and arrested the guys that threw them in the back of the vehicle and stuff like that, even though the crowd was protesting. But that is what don't happen. It could be your brother, your son, your child, your relative. Once they are induced with the system's power, don't think they think like you. They are not like you anymore. And they will do anything to please their masters, including slaughtering you. In fact, I honestly think that sometimes, if not all the time, we might be much better off having to deal with the Black Caucasian police officers themselves than having to deal with one of our own people that are induced or that are inducted in and has become an honorary member of the Black Caucasian police. And I recommend that you read the accompanying article as well. That is the accompanying article with the image that is on your screen. It is called The Concourse, and the title of the article is America is Not for Black People. Very interesting article. And that is how we, the highly melanin or the highly carbon people, always end up getting the shitty or the filthy end of the stick from them, especially the Black Caucasian police officers. Because what they, by themselves, in their own mind, think, believe, feel, and claim to see, and what they are trained by the society, by their society to see, is not who and what we really are, but what their Black Caucasian society and the Black Caucasian system tell them we are. That we are black people, and therefore we are a threat to them that think they are white. And that is just one reason why a Black Caucasian police officer or any other police officer anywhere in the world that is induced and empowered with the Black Caucasian police powers and authority can, and will freely abused, brutalized, injured, severely maimed, harassed, falsely accused, falsely arrested, falsely detained, falsely imprisoned, falsely sentenced to death, discriminate against, deprive us of our natural native earthly human rights, dignity, and respect, and shot any of our people dead in cold blood, and especially any of our young males And sometimes if the police officer feels like it, he or she can and will empty the bullet of his or her gun in any of us and walk free without guilt of conscience or guilt of shame of taking sometimes an innocent life. And even after they kill, murder, slaughter us, and we are dead, lifeless, like they still think, feel, believe, they will still think, feel, believe and claim that we are still a threat to them. I saw and listened to a video that was posted on my Facebook wall of a live police killing and possible a live police execution or murder of one of our youths, who it is alleged that he had stolen 2 sodas from a convenience store and then put them on the ground. Then the St. Louis, Missouri cops came and on the scene shot and killed him on the spot and in the presence of multiple witnesses. The incident, according to the news report, took place less than 10 kilometers away from where young 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot and killed by the killer, if not the public executioner and murderer, the Black Caucasian Ferguson police officer Dorian Wilson. And even after he emptied his weapon into the young man, and the young man was dead, the rest of police officers still cuffed the dead young man's body. Why? Because to them, he's black, a black man, and since they think, believe, feel, and claim that he's black, then even his dead body is a threat to them. If you doubt me, please go search for the YouTube video and watch the video for yourself and you'll see. And not only will the cop that is induced and empowered with the Black Caucasian police and authority that has just killed and if not just murdered one of our now endangered young males, not only will he, like many other officers, if not all other officers, that has slaughtered in cold blood some of our innocent young males, have walked free, can walk free, and will walk free, free from punishment, free of guilt, free of shame, or free of the guilt of human conscience for taking another human life. But his or her fellow Black Caucasian police officers and others, the entire body of the Black Caucasian Police Force, and his or her Black Caucasian society will not only sympathize and rally support for him or her, but they will commend him or her for doing what they considered in their Black Caucasian minds to be a great and exemplary job, and what is in their nature a superb job of service to their Black Caucasian community and to their Black Caucasian society. That is just one practical example of the very deadly consequences for us, the natural native earthly humans, that are blessed by our mother and source, Mother Nature, with the gift of high melanin, high carbon skin that is being falsely called, labeled, profiled, and named black. Now, why do these Black Caucasians, including the Black Caucasian police officers, see, think, believe, feel, and act as if they are being threatened by us? Well, one simple answer to that question is that because they are black. Because as they think, so are they. It is because they are the real and true black ones. And at this point, I also strongly suggest that you revisit the meanings and definitions of the word black. And for a more detailed and in-depth answer to the question, why do these Black Caucasians, including the Black Caucasian police officers, see, think, believe, feel, and act as if they are being threatened by us? We must also examine the word threatened. And we will see that other than the fact that it is synonymous with the word black, it also means and is defined as, and I quote, state one's intention to take hostile action against someone in retribution for something done or not done, unquote. So here is the answer to the question. Why do these Black Caucasians see, think, believe, and feel and act as if we are being threatened, or as if they are being threatened by us? The highly melanin people and the natural native earthly humans. Here it is right here in the meaning of the word threatened. They, the Black Caucasians, hate us because it is programmed into their gene, into their DNA, the hateful race memory gene that they have inherited from their ancestors, the Black Caucasians, slave masters, slave traders, the brutal oppressors and persecutors. And thus instinctively, genetically and otherwise, they know of a fact that they have done us. They know of a fact what they have done us. They know the wickedness, the injustice, the evils that they have unleashed on us. And as a result, whenever they see any of us, their genetically programmed reaction is to think, believe, claim, feel, and act as if they are being threatened by us. Or, in other words, their own knowledge of themselves tell them that we might be about to take revenge, or that it might be in our intention to take hostile action against them in retribution for what they and their ancestors have done to us and are still doing to us today. These people, the Black Caucasians, are programmed in their psyche to see us as black and therefore a threat. They just can't help themselves. It's just their human being characteristics. We are the ones who have to change the name in order to change the game. We have to stop letting them call us black and stop answering to their lies that we are black. So, in closing, I want to further prove to you that I am not making up things. Here is a quote from Brown America, The Story of the New Race by Edwin R. Embry, 1931, the Vikings Press. And I quote, "It was the interest and business of the slaveholders to study human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view to particular results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had, for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong, they were every hour perpetuating and knowing what they themselves would do. Were they the victims of such wrongs, they were constantly looking for the first signs of the dreaded retribution. They watched, therefore, with skilled and practiced eyes, and learned to read with great accuracy the state of mind and heart of the slave through his sable face, unusual sobriety, apparent abstractions, sullenness, and indifference indeed. Any mood out of the common was afforded ground for suspicion and injury." Frederick Douglass, Let's Make a Slave of the Original and Development of a Social Being Called the Negro, unquote. So now you know, or at the very least, now you have an idea as to why the Black Caucasians, be they Black Caucasians common citizens, the Black Caucasian police officers, or others, feel and act threatened by us. It is their karma. It is their natural curse of restlessness on them as a result of their and their ancestors' wickedness. It is their self-judgment and their evil and distorted conscience. This is the end of my video presentation lecture titled "The Natives' Dreadful Fear of the Black Caucasians." I do hope that you, at the very least, find it thought-provoking. Your thoughts and your comments are welcome. Please join me in my soon-to-be-uploaded lecture presentation in this series called "Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell," where I'll continue my video response to the YouTube video, "What Did Jesse Duplantis Say About Black People?" I am the Mystic Philosopher, and I thank you for watching.